Tolga, thank you so much for joining me today. I do appreciate your time. Um,
Sure.
Tolga, you decided to join me inside the lifestyle method about 8 weeks ago now. 8 weeks ago, you decided that you wanted to sort your nutrition out, get back into consistent exercise, lose some weight, get into the best shape of your life so that you could, I guess, look and feel your absolute best from inside and out.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um, I think one of the goals is also to get more energy so that you can be more present with the family and kids, and also just to future-proof your health, right, from chronic diseases, and again, just to be around for your family for as long as possible. Um, if I'm not mistaken, you've lost just over 10 or 11 kilos now inside of 8 weeks,
Huh?
something like that.
Yeah, it was good to hear that actually. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And also bearing in mind you had a week where you were ill, you had a chest infection last week as well, right? So
Yeah.
that's pretty good going. How are you feeling right now?
Feeling good actually. Like I say, obviously the weight loss is like the sort of the the thing that you really see and you measure success off of, I guess, in a simple term, isn't it? Really, you see the weight dropping and you think you're doing well, but obviously there's a lot more to it. But feeling good, feeling positive, feeling motivated still, which is a good sign.
Yeah.
Uh, Feeling on track. I always feel like I've always had this sort of saying where I feel like I'm on the tracks, so I'm lined up and ready. I've tried sometimes before, and you don't quite feel like um, you're sort of everything's aligned and going in the right direction, but it feels good at the moment. Yeah, everything's working nicely.
Great. Now, we've been doing something together over the last 8 weeks, periodically called maintenance weeks. I don't think you were too familiar with them before we started. Can you just tell the listeners what are maintenance weeks and what purpose do they serve?
So, maintenance weeks for me, I guess, is a small break from being in a deficit in simple terms. It's a chance to up your calories slightly, maybe to something closer to what you would be doing if you were just trying to maintain your weight. I guess it does what it says on the tin, right?
Yeah.
Um, so, yeah, it's a chance to have a slight break from being in a deficit and from the plan. And also, for me, what they have been is a chance to practice what I'm going to be doing at the end. I think that's the key thing is practice. It's practice makes perfect, right? That is the saying. And for me, if you don't practice what you're going to do once you're out of a deficit, it's really hard. And I know that firsthand because I've done it quite a few times. You know, it's embarrassing to say, but the whole yo-yo dieting sort of way of living my life for the last however many years. Um, you go on these weight loss journeys trying to lose weight and having all the same goals that I have at the moment, but there's always that slight doubt, maybe I'd say, and this might not apply to everyone, but I've always had maybe a slight niggling doubt that I feel like I can lose the weight, but I don't have that full conviction of keeping it off and what do I do and how do I manage that because it's failed every time before, right? So, and if I'm truthful with myself, if you lose the weight, which I have done before, and then it's back on again, there's something not right, is there? There's something not connecting, there's something not working. So for me, the maintenance week is actually the big difference this time, it feels to me, because I'm having a chance to actually live my life in these little moments as I would once I've got to the weight I want to be at.
Yeah.
That respect is priceless.
Yeah. So you've historically been really, really good at losing weight, but perhaps, like you said, not having that conviction or that game plan and that strategy to be able to maintain it. So the way that we worked in those first few weeks, you were seeing a decent amount of weight loss every single week. But when we threw in that maintenance week, I guess perhaps for you it might have felt a little bit counterintuitive to sort of put your foot on the brakes and to say, okay, this week we're not gunning for weight loss. How did you feel about that first maintenance week?
I thought you were mad, Danny. No, in all seriousness, it felt I was apprehensive definitely because it came at a point where I just hit my stride. I think
Yeah.
I was seeing weight loss every week, feeling really good, and I did. If I'm honest, I felt what's the point of this? But it was the best thing I could have done actually because, like I say, it made me stop for a second and think, okay, what is this for? What is the actual purpose? And think about it. And when you're on it and when you do it and then when you come out of it, you really understand it. I think that's the
Yeah.
thing. Um, so yeah, definitely the first one, a little bit apprehensive, a little bit unsure if it was the right time to do it. Once I'd done it and I realized, and I'd sort of, been out for a meal, which I didn't think I'd be doing in the fourth week or fifth week, whichever it was. Um, and sort of upped some calories and maybe just eyed in some ingredients instead of weighing stuff. Um, yeah, once I'd done that, and then I think I still lost a little bit of weight that week actually, which I wasn't expecting. Obviously, I was thinking, "Oh, this is gonna sort of maybe put a real pause on the weight loss." But for me personally, I did drop a little bit more again, which is great to see. So yeah, a little bit apprehensive the first time. Um, yeah, second time I knew what it was about. I'm
Yeah.
in one now actually. This is my
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Feeling
this
slightly different.
yeah, it feels very different. Yeah, because I understand the purpose now. I get it. And like I say, the main thing I'm trying to take from it is that practice, is practicing what my lifestyle will be or what I want it to be as far as nutrition goes after this process. And it's given me a confidence boost because I feel like it's completely manageable. And um and also just in when I know I keep saying the word practice, but I think that is the key thing. But it's being able to, like I say, start to work out quantities of ingredients and starting to eye things in and take a mental note instead of having to really religiously log everything. Take a mental note of what I've been eating throughout the day and how that affects me, and then be able to rein it in if I need to, but just not have it so structured for a week. It's been great.
Yeah. I think for many people who perhaps aren't familiar with maintenance weeks or haven't done them before, again, is a pretty foreign concept for these people. Um, and so, can you just talk a little bit about, because obviously we haven't restricted anything, right? We haven't restricted your ability to eat out with your family or any types of foods. So, what is it that is so special about, and so, I guess again, and counterintuitive about these maintenance weeks? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, we haven't restricted anything, and you could have eaten whatever you would have liked. So
Yeah.
what is it about these maintenance weeks that I guess again comes quite foreign to people or perhaps isn't the first thing you think of when you're in a deficit and you're losing weight every single week and you've just hit your stride?
Yeah, it's like you say, it feels counterintuitive. Um, but again, I feel like there is no restriction. So I guess technically, I could just fall back into my previous ways possibly if I was, going through an unhealthy period, so to speak. So, but I haven't, and I think it must be something psychological as well, I guess, in a good way,
Yeah.
because yeah, it's an odd one. I don't feel like I want to do that anyway, but I don't feel restricted in any way either. So it's a clever tool, really, in that respect. I mean, the first maintenance week, like I mentioned, me and my wife, we went out for dinner, and just enjoyed a dinner without being too worried about what it was we were eating. We had a little bit of a drink as well, and I think a key thing would be I would feel if I wasn't in a maintenance week and I'd done that,
Yeah.
I would probably be really beating myself up and feel like it was a failure. You know, sometimes I think, I don't know, I can't speak for everyone, but in my personal sort of experience, sometimes when I've done that before, I sort of think, well, screw it. I mean, I've messed up today, so I've we've had a bottle of wine, or I've eaten this meal, and I've eaten, and haven't really watched what I'm eating, and it would actually go the other way, and things could actually just get worse for the rest of the week. Whereas it's the opposite. It's had the opposite effect, but not negatively. I don't feel like we went out for a meal or had a few more calories each day, and you know, it didn't affect me like it has done every single other diet I've ever done. If I'm honest, I mean, it's the first time that uh, you know, yeah, my brain and I feel positive, and it gives you a different outlook on the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. Let's just wrap up by coming back to this question of what is the purpose of maintenance weeks? So you've experienced two of them now in the last 8 weeks. And for the people listening, Torga's had bouts of losing weight, gaining weight, sort of yo-yo dieting, starting diets, coming off diets. Effectively, like most people, life, work, lifestyles getting in the way of consistency. So
Exactly. Yeah.
how does maintenance weeks help you string together small chunks of consistency? Because that's what a healthy lifestyle is, right? It's just small chunks of consistency that's either being broken down by things like holidays and people not being able to get back on track, or long weekends away, Easter, half term, whatever it may be. For some people can get back on track. For some others, they don't. How do you think maintenance weeks allows you just to string it all together so that it's just one long continuous chain?
That's exactly. I think you hit the nail on the head with the whole, in if you're not on some sort of plan or on a weight loss sort of journey or everything, and you're going through your life, you're going to have these phases, aren't you, of, you know, holiday or a weekend away or a wedding or these sort of events, work dues and things. And I suppose it replicates that in a weird sort of way. So then I go back to that same word of practice and learning. It's teaching. It definitely feels like it's teaching me to how to sort of manage those sort of moments so that they don't happen and then you don't just fall off the wagon, so to speak, once that's happened. And yeah, I mean, for me, I would, like I said, I was skeptical at first. Really, really can't sort of yeah, recommend it enough. I think it's really good. It's the only time, again, that I feel like it's a game changer as far as actually changing my mindset and my sort of whole outlook on life, on my lifestyle. Really, like I say, those broken moments of being off of a plan, being a little bit less restrictive, getting to practice these things that you're learning, along with the videos that you've done as well, Danny, just to be able to watch them, put them into practice, try sort of not letting things affect you psychologically in a negative way. It's the best way to do it.
Great. Tolga, thank you so much.
Welcome. Thank you.